Okay, part 3 of our trip, which was the last bit, which was in France. So we got off the cruise in Marseille, and what we did was we left the cruise there, and we had a little bit of a time in Marseille before we caught the fast train to Paris from Marseille. So here we are in a taxi, just driving to the train station where we would leave our luggage and then explore Marseille for a little while after that. Now, first thing about Marseille, France, Paris, that I'd like to say is that this time, I've been to Paris 3 times before and France 3 times before. This was the 3rd time, and this time was the best I've ever seen Paris and France. Everyone was so friendly and so nice, which I don't remember from previous times. They were all really helpful and talkative. People would speak to you in English, and it was all really clean. The last 2 times I've been to Paris, it was quite dirty, and there was also lots of scammers and stuff, but none of that was around while we were there. I think they might have cleaned it up for the Olympics, which has been really good. So here you can see us just arriving at the station there. I wanted to have a look at what the trains look like, the fast trains from Marseille to Paris, and then what we did was we went out into Marseille for a look around. It was kind of cold, a little bit rainy. We went for a walk down to the water, and then we found the hop-on, hop-off bus. Got a photo before we got on the hop-on, off bus, and then we got on the hop-on, off bus and just got a bit of a trip around Marseille. We only had a couple of hours, and the bus trip was actually, the hop-on, hop-off bus was quite a bit of time. So we didn't end up doing the whole thing, but what we did was we just went around as much as we could, went up the kind of hill where the cathedral and stuff is, and had a good look around out to the ocean and the harbour, and then the city. Got some nice photos. Saw the bus driver when he's driving in Marseille, the hop on hop off bus, having to do really tight turns. It was actually really interesting to watch. You can see here the bus driving around. So quite good. Got to see the cathedral. We got back down to where we started eventually after these videos, and then we caught the metro back to we decided to catch the metro back rather than walk this time. We caught the metro back to the main station, the main station in Marseille, where the fast train was ready to take us to Paris. So we just explored Marseille first, as you can see, driving around the harbour, driving up the hill and stuff to the cathedral. Now these bus drivers are pretty cool to be able to drive through these little streets.
You can only get it through the thing because it just
All the rain. It's going up to the that's it, I think. It's the wow. Look at that. Oh wow. There you go. Got a bit over there.
must be fairly long.
You can't get around.
Over there, look.
We're pretty amazed at the bus driving on this city.
The tightest turn you've ever seen. Just went over it.
It's got to run out those little pole things as well. Yeah. We're going to turn up there. We're going to turn up there. How's he going to? No, he can't. He couldn't turn up there. Whoa. Wow. So then after we finished our time in Marseille, we went to the station and got ready to get on our fast train to Paris from Marseille. Now this was the train that I had to rebook because our original train had been cancelled. So our original train was supposed to go to Gare de Lyon station, which is kind of in the city. I had to change it to later in the day because the first one had been cancelled due to strike, and I also had to change it so that it dropped us off at Disneyland, the station at Disneyland Paris. So we didn't go to Disneyland this time. Jamie, Brett and I went there 3 years ago when we went to Paris, but this time our train got off. We got off our train at Disneyland, but when we got off it was pretty late because we got the train about 5:30 or something in Marseille, and then it was about a 3.5 hour train trip. So by the time I got up to Disneyland, it was about 9 o'clock at night, so we were it was pretty late, so we didn't go and have a look at Disneyland or anything like that. We just got on our next train to head towards Gare de Lyon station, and then we got off and then we changed to a tram eventually, where it got us close to our hotel, and then we had to walk to our hotel. See how fast the train went. This one was even faster. I think about 320 kilometers per hour it reached, slightly faster than the 300 on the one from Madrid to Barcelona. So that was awesome. I love being on those kind of trains. And this was the day before, or no, actually this was the same day that the Madrid train fast train crash happened. We were on the train from Marseille to Paris, and the Madrid fast train accident happened. We only found out about it the next morning when we woke up in Paris. So we're travelling along towards Disneyland. We get off at Disneyland, as I said, catch a metro to, can't remember what station it was right off the top of my head, but then it wasn't Gare de Lyon, but we had to go through Gare de Lyon, and then we got on a tram which got us close to our hotel, but it was still about a kilometre away, and then I made them all walk to our hotel. It was a bit of a side streets, and they're like, what are we doing? But then once we got to the hotel, it was actually pretty good. It was a 2-bedroom hotel with a sofa bed. We all were in the same hotel this time, so that was good. But once we got there, we decided to go and Mum and Dad and I, we decided to catch an Uber into the city, Paris city, and go to the Eiffel Tower. So we went to the Eiffel Tower at night time, got some professional photos by people that were there. They were the only people really trying to sell stuff around the Eiffel Tower, which was so different to the last time I went there. But it was night time this time, but even in the daytime there wasn't as many people like there used to be. So then we got some good photos of this is the tram that we caught just on the way to our hotel. Here we are. Here's the photos that we got of the Eiffel Tower. So the three of us got a nice photo of us in the dark. Jamie and Brett just stayed back at the hotel because at this stage Brett had kind of started to get a bit sick. The rest of us didn't get sick till the end of the trip, but Brett kind of started to get sick here, so he just stayed in the hotel this night with Jamie, and because they had already seen the Eiffel Tower as well. And then the next day they just rested as well while Dad, Mum and I did some stuff. Here we are, just walking from our hotel in Paris towards the metro, where we would get on the metro and head to the Eiffel Tower. So we got on the metro, headed towards the Eiffel Tower, And then here we are getting close to the Eiffel Tower. Now, Mum and Dad had an Eiffel Tower booking where they went up to the second platform. So I had planned this. So we got there to the place where we had to meet, and so we had a bit of time. So we just kind of sat in the hotel, in the cafe there, and got a hot chocolate, coffee, a little bit to drink. Mum and Dad just kind of sat there, and I looked out for the tour guide. We actually found the tour guide. And so we were going to go, we went in the, and here's this is us right near the Eiffel Tower ready to get up the lift. But when we met the tour guide, I wasn't supposed to be going up because I've been up twice before and I didn't want to waste money. So I hadn't booked a ticket for myself. But the lady said to us, oh, hey, I've got a spare ticket. Do you want to come? So I was like, oh, yeah, may as well with Mum and Dad. So went up the Eiffel Tower again. We could only go to the second platform, which is all Brett and Jamie could do when we went last time as well. I've been to the top the first time I went to the Eiffel Tower, but yeah, there's maintenance going on, so we couldn't go to right to the top. So yeah, we got up to the middle part, the second story. We had a good look around, got some good photos, a photo with our tour guide, which is right now. There she is, she's really nice. Then we got lots of photos from up the top there, and we looked around, had fun. We walked from the second platform down to the first platform via the stairs, so we got a bit of go walking down the stairs, went to the first platform. Mum and Dad bought some stuff in the shops.
Yes, it is actually.
Maybe we might have got a hot chocolate, I can't remember. And then we headed down to the bottom. And now, when we got down to the bottom of the Eiffel Tower, was when I found out that our Louvre tickets had been cancelled. And I was really annoyed about this because I wanted Mum and Dad to see the Louvre. So emailing them, getting in contact with them, trying to find out why this has been cancelled on us, and I was pretty annoyed. Anyway, I was like, okay, well, and they said, there's nothing we can do about it, we can't get you tickets, there's no way. The only tickets we can get you are for a couple of days away, which is when we'd be on our way home. So anyway, I'm like, okay, well, let's go to the Louvre in person and see if we can get some tickets in person. So anyway, we walked, after we finished at the Eiffel Tower, I said to Mum and Dad, let's just go to the Louvre first, let's just see if we can work this out. Anyway, when we got to the Louvre, the reason why we couldn't get in was because there was a strike. So the Louvre was on strike, no one could get in, and so that meant that Mum and Dad couldn't see the Louvre on this trip, which was a little annoying, but there's nothing that we could really do about it, and they weren't too worried about it. Instead of doing the Louvre, we then went to Champs-Élysées, and we did a bit of shopping, and we had a really nice lunch at this cafe in Champs-Élysées. Now, thanks to Dad for paying for it. I think it was pretty expensive actually, which is kind of a good thing that Dad was there. But Dad said that he was going to shout this day, so Dad, he bought Mum and me our lunch. The boys, as I said, were back at the hotel. We had a really nice lunch, then we went along the Champs-Élysées and got some good photos. Now, we're still on the Eiffel Tower photos here, but soon you'll see some photos of the cafe and the Champs-Élysées, video of the Champs-Élysées, which is what we were doing on this particular day. This was a lovely day. Mum and Dad are enjoying their Paris visit.
Yes,
look at them, there they are.
definitely. So beautiful. This is why you can take the photos here. We're not going through the...
Yes. Mum, are you going to do some shopping on the Champs-Élysées?
Yes.
Dad, are you going to spend some money on the Champs-Élysées?
Definitely.
Mum and Dad are going to spend up big on the Champs-Élysées. There's Calvin Klein, Levi's. Here, obviously.
What about some of the costs,
around,
Dad?
and then we found a cafe. And this is Dad getting a photo with the waitress. He likes to do that. Then we headed out to the Champs-Élysées to look at the Arc de Triomphe. And yes, and then have a look at some of the shops. Mum wanted to buy a jacket for this night because on this night,
What about some of the costs,
Mum and Dad were going to the Moulin Rouge. Now,
That's not funny.
so Mum wanted to find a nice jacket to kind of wear, but we didn't end up finding anything that was like good enough kind of thing. I mean, obviously Champs-Élysées has very high-end stuff, but just the right kind of thing that what Mum was looking for her trip to Moulin Rouge. So shout out to Dad here. Dad was probably the one that did the most out of all of us on this trip. The only thing that he did more than me was went to the Moulin Rouge. Now, I've been to the Moulin Rouge before, so I was like, I didn't need to do it. It's quite expensive to go. So Mum and Dad did. But as I said, Dad went to everything. So anyway, but the Moulin Rouge anyway. So Mum and Dad decided to go to the Moulin Rouge after our day out in Paris. And so Mum and Dad, I ordered them an Uber to get to the Moulin Rouge, and then they had a nice night at the Moulin Rouge, and they then came back via taxi later in the night. But the other thing about the Moulin Rouge as well was that this was the last night that we were in France, the last night of our holiday. The following day, we were going to be up all day to then catch a plane from Paris to Madrid, and then from Madrid to Beijing, and then from Beijing to Sydney, and then from the train from Sydney to home. So I knew that the next 50 hours or so, or even longer after Mum and Dad went to the Moulin Rouge, was the last sleep we were going to get. So I was like, I wanted to just go to bed early, but they went out to Moulin Rouge and they had heaps of fun and they really enjoyed it. So then the following day we went to Versailles. On our final day in Paris, we went to the Palace of Versailles to start with. So we caught a train from our hotel to the Palace of Versailles. Had a look at the outside, then went on the inside and had a look at the gardens, and so this was really quite nice. A really kind of cool thing to look at. Jamie and Brett hadn't been to Palace of Versailles before because when we went last time we didn't end up going to Palace of Versailles, so I wanted to take everyone there. I went there back in 2012. So yes, it's a very cool palace. We then went and looked at the gardens of the Palace of Versailles, and after we finished the gardens, we then went down to a little cafe to get something quickly to eat before we caught the metro, or the RER first, and then the metro back to the city, where we would get on a Seine River cruise to finish our trip. Now, Seine River cruise was it was amazing. But for me, it was a little bit stressful because we were cutting things very fine to getting back to the airport. We had to get back to the airport, to Paris airport by, I think it was 5:40 we had to get to Paris. That's what time the plane left. And then, we had to get there at 5:40. The plane left at 7:40. Then got to Madrid at 9:40 p.m. And then our plane from Madrid to Beijing left at 1:20 a.m. So it was a little bit of a rush. And so doing this Seine River cruise didn't leave us heaps of time to get to the airport for the first flight from from Paris to Madrid. And if we missed this Paris to Madrid flight, then we missed everything, because the Madrid flight was then, Madrid to Beijing was then 4 hours later, and then 5 hours after we got into Beijing was our plane to Sydney. So it was a little stressful. The cruise was amazing though, and I didn't want Mum and Dad not to see, go on the Seine River and see all the amazing things from the Seine River. But yeah, it did make our last little bit of the trip a little stressful, because we had to rush to the airport from back. We had to go back to the hotel, get our luggage, and then rush to the airport. Now, in a second, you'll see a picture of a lady. This is Mum, not the lady. This is Mum, but a little bit later, you'll see a picture of another lady who helped us. I knew where I had to go for the train station to catch it to the airport, but this lady was just so friendly, and she met us in the street. She saw that we were carrying our luggage from our hotel and we were on the way to the airport. She's like, "Oh, do you know how to get there?" And then she's telling us what metros and stuff to take. She was lovely. It was lovely of her. But anyway, so we finished the Seine River cruise, and then we head to the airport. So we get on a train first, and then we have to change over to the metro. And I was a little worried because the metros in Paris can be really busy, and we had our luggage. The RERs are okay, and we had an RER first, but then we had a metro. When we got on the metro, it was empty as. So I'm like, oh, awesome! Okay, this is gonna be cool. So anyway, we're waiting. We're getting in the metro, and Brett. There was a bit of a line up to get into my carriage. So then I'm like, okay, well. So anyway, we were trying to get in, but Brett decides, okay, well, he's going to go up to another door to get in. Anyway, we didn't realise this, and we're not sure where Brett is, so I'm calling out to Brett, and Mum's trying to see where he is as well. And meanwhile, Mum gets locked out of the doors and ends up on the platform at the metro station by herself, with all of us on the train going towards the airport. Now, at this time of day, it was peak time, so trains came every minute for the metro. So she was right, but she just was going to be by herself. And so anyway, I'm freaking out, going, "Oh man, I've just lost my mum at the metro." And so anyway, I call her and I'm like, "Mum, do you know what to do?" And she's like, "I think so. I need to get on the train." And then I said, "You need to get off at the last station. The last station is the airport." And Mum's like, "Oh, okay." And anyway, but there's another lovely guy that helped her as well. So a bit of a exciting but scary thing for Mum right at the end of our trip. But anyway, once we got to the airport, it was we were rushing to try and get there in time, so we only had 20 minutes left to check in. I'm not used to getting to airports so late. I'm always a very early getting there person, so had to quickly get in there, had to quickly get through customs, rush through, and by the time we got through customs and all that kind of stuff, the plane was already boarding, so we had to run to the gate, get on the plane. We were kind of the last people getting on the plane, which is a bit crazy. So that was our trip from Paris to Madrid. Once we got to Madrid, it was a lot slower though, because we had about a 4-hour wait till our 1:20 a.m. leave on that. And then we had another 5-hour stopover in Beijing. Got to Sydney, then we had to catch a train back. By the time we got to Fassifern, there was buses replacing trains there. It was a bit of a hassle. Eventually got home. But from when we were kind of getting on the plane in Paris for the rest of the trip, Mum and I had really started to get quite sick from the flu. And that wasn't very nice to be on a plane so sick. Jamie was getting a bit sick. Brett had already been sick and was still kind of sick. And then Dad ended up getting sick when we got home. So that was a little bit of a bummer for the last bit of the trip. And I would just like to thank the fam for an amazing trip. Thanks to Mum and Dad, Brett and Jamie for a wonderful trip.